Brainstorm, bringing great minds and ideas together, exploring a wide variety of opportunities, achieving academic excellence, using the latest technology, government's impact, preparing for 21st century careers, parenting and health issues, topics shaping tomorrow. Brainstorm with Lisa Willever, bringing great minds and ideas together.
Welcome to Brainstorm. I'm Lisa Willever, and today's topic is school climate change. Before we begin, let's take a look at what's actually affecting the climate in our schools' classrooms.
Elementary school. Book reports, science fairs, songs, and finger paints. Creativity was always the order of the day, and children were encouraged to try their best. Personal growth was measured by personal achievement, and teachers were encouraged to be creative in their approaches. Tests used to be administered at the end of a chapter or when a book was completed, and several factors went into final grades, things like participation, effort, homework, classwork, projects, quizzes. Today's students are tested more than any previous generation. From instruction tests to benchmarks to multiple standardized tests, the emphasis has drifted from growth to performance. In addition, teacher evaluation has been tied to student performance. While this may sound logical on paper, student performance is a poor indicator of teacher ability and effort. These shifts have not only impacted student growth and meaningful learning, they have also impacted noticeable changes in classroom climate.
Our topic today is school climate change. However, this climate change is about the climate inside today's classrooms in our schools. I'm joined by Dawn Hiltner, a former teacher and the Associate Director of Organizing and Coalition Building for the New Jersey Education Association, and also Dr. James Fazzone, a former teacher, administrator, professor, board member, and the former mayor of Burlington City, New Jersey. I'd like to thank you both for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure to be here, Lisa.
Thank you. So right off the bat, let's get started. Do you agree that the climate in schools has changed? Dawn?
Definitely. I think between the testing culture and budget cuts, it's changed a lot. A lot of the joy has kind of gone out of teaching, and a lot of the fun too that we used to have.
Okay, Jim?
Yeah, and I think we should maybe go over a quick definition of climate and culture. I think culture in a school is the way we do things around here, and climate's the way we feel around here. And I agree with Dawn. So many of the cuts have cut out some of those important things that make students feel good about school, good about themselves. I remember Walt Disney had a great quote. He said, entertaining first and educational second. And if we cut out that entertaining part, I think it's real tough to get to the education spot.
I agree 100%. In fact, that's one of my favorite quotes from Walt Disney. Now, this show is called Brainstorm, and brainstorming requires thought and patience and trial and error. And basically, in a brainstorm, most of the ideas fail, but they lead to the winning idea. And it's a process, and I feel like that process has just been wiped out in schools. I feel like kids are stressed. They're afraid to make a mistake. They're afraid to try something because they might make a mistake. And I feel like they're not having the same experience we may have had. What was your favorite memory or experience when you were in elementary school?
Well, I would say getting out to go to recess was fun for me, but also the arts, stories, and then a chance to talk about the things that were taking place in the classroom, answering questions. And I think you mentioned a good point, kids afraid to get the wrong answer. I think in brainstorm, just like your show, with brainstorming, all ideas should be on the table, none should be criticized. And that's why I think in education, and I'm sure Dawn will say, we justify answers. If someone gives the wrong answer, we want to tell the student, well, you're on the right track. I understand what you're saying and thinking. We want to, again, make the students feel good about the attempts and not just some standardized test score that takes place once a year.
How about you, Dawn?
Great. My favorite, so many. I mean, I just loved school so much, and I loved my teachers, and I loved all the people at the school. I used to love spending time with the custodian because he used to open the little closet that had all the school supplies that we could buy, and he just used to be so much fun. And the library was just such a great place for me because I used to love to read about women in history because I didn't always see them in my textbooks, and the librarian used to get me all of these special books, or if something came in, she would hold it for me. But just that experience of really getting to know all of the people in my school and being able to do a lot of different things with my classmates.
If I can piggyback on what Dawn said, and she was talking about the custodian, research indicates that the successful students have two things in common. One is an adult they relate to in a positive manner, and two, an activity at the school they like. And I think that's how we opened the show, talking about those two things. And when we're talking about those two things, I think that helps students feel good, and that's a lot about what that climate involves.
I think when I was in school, we knew, I went to a Catholic school, so we were in the same school from kindergarten through 8th grade. So you knew when you got to 5th grade, this teacher, this was her big project. It was the solar system. And you know throughout the whole year what the 5th graders did every year. And you looked forward to it. And when you got to 6th grade, that teacher had her own thing. And, you know, they were allowed. They were allowed to do these fun activities with us that might not have been in the textbook, but they made an impact on everybody. And we still remember those things. You know, I don't remember every test I ever took, but I remember the spelling bees in the class each week when we'd all stand up from our desk and we'd get to stand and, you know, nobody got upset. You spelled it wrong, you went down, and we had multiplication bees, but they had all these different things that you remember, not just the things that were in the books. Now, as educators, you're both former teachers. Was the climate the same when you started teaching as it was when you were students? And, you know, had it changed at that point, do you feel?
Well, I taught kindergarten, 1st grade. The highest I ever went was 2nd grade. So I had a lot of fun as a teacher. I used to love being with my class. And we always did kind of fun little projects. And I remember even one year for a couple times for St. Patrick's Day, I wanted to teach the kids about, you know, being careful with eating and drinking things that you didn't know about. So I painted my feet green before the kids came into school and put a pair of socks over. And then we found, you know, there was a whole, you know, brouhaha that morning that a leprechaun had been in the room and trashed it the night before. And we found this green punch and I drank it and the kids were screaming. So then, you know, we found a note that said I was going to turn my feet green. And sure enough, I take my socks off and I have green feet. And the kids are distraught. So the school nurse had to come down with her medical book to say how, you know, you're lucky that your feet are going to turn back to normal by tomorrow, but you should never eat or drink anything that you don't know where it came from. And I mean, it really had an impact on the kids because like years later, I was hearing the story from teachers in other school districts.
Oh, I'm sure.
But we used to be able to really just do these crazy things because, you know, I knew what I had to accomplish. I knew what I had to teach, but I had the freedom to do it my way and to do it in a way that I felt would impact the kids. By the time I left, it was starting to change.
But you nailed it when you said the kids. You know, teachers are college-educated, trained professionals. Teaching is an art. It's not a science. So we need to trust that our teachers can go in and with the class in front of them, address their needs, present the material, not because of what it says in a book, but because they know how to take what needs to be taught and present it in a way that really connects with those kids. And I think what you're talking about is finding what's age appropriate and what will make an impact. And I'm sure kids in your class never forgot that.
I hope not.
How about you, Jim?
Yeah, I think things have changed, and it does concern me a little bit because we're too, I believe, concerned with the 3 R's and having the math, the science, all the things that are tested, language arts, taking up too much of the school day. And Dawn gave a great example. I like to think of there's a fellow, Dale Brubaker, who talks about the inner curriculum versus the outer curriculum. And he said the outer curriculum is the textbooks, the standardized tests, the lesson plans, what we have to teach and what we're forced to teach. But the inner curriculum is when the student asks themselves, who am I? Where have I been in the past? And where do I want to go in the future? And I think only the teachers know what is in that inner curriculum of their students. So I worry that we're taking all of the decision-making away from the teachers, putting it into the hands of either legislators or some folks that are making decisions for what's taking place in the class, and that should really be teacher decision-making with the interaction and making things fun, because if it's entertaining and you enjoy it, you remember that, and I think your viewers probably think of some of the things that they liked when they were in school. My concern is that we're taking some of those fun things away as we try to double up a math period, double up a language arts forest period, and turning education into a painful thing, and I think it's a bad thing.
I do. I think it's counterproductive because I think sometimes they view fun as, not conducive to learning, where doubling the math or, 90-minute blocks for science or for writing. It's not. The kids are bored, and the writing programs are. I'm a children's book author. This is what I do for a living. I would never write a book the way the kids are being taught to write stories. They pre-write for a month. Yeah. They take a moment and a smaller moment and a smaller, and they go on in the detail. By the time they're ready to start writing the story, I understand why they're bored with the topic. We do a thing with the NikkiFifth.com where we put up on the website random writing. We put a topic up, one item usually, and we tell them to just write. And there are no rules other than be creative. And telling kids to do this initially is like letting a hostage free. They don't want to do it. They say, well, how many sentences? I said, don't count sentences, write sentences that count. And then they'll say, well, how many paragraphs? How long should it be? I don't care. I want you to just be creative, because in elementary school especially, they've lost the creative component to thinking and writing, and now they write for form writing. I need 5 sentences here, I need 3 sentences here, and they get it done. They're not enjoying it. You can tell in the writing, they're just following a recipe. So I am concerned, not just as a parent, as a former teacher, but just as a citizen. Like, these are the kids who are going to take care of us when we eventually get old one day.
And let's take
in the far future.
Let's take that writing even to the reading, if we can. I think children should read kind of the way adults read, pleasure read. Right. Adults go to Barnes & Noble, and I hope I can say, I'm not doing a commercial for anybody, but whatever. Yeah. But go to a bookstore, and they pick out a book that they like, something that maybe a friend of theirs told them about. They start to read it. If they like it, they continue to read it. If not, they go to another topic, another book. But in schools, what do? We tell them what they have to read. Mm-hmm. Then we give them a worksheet. If you had parents... if you told parents that they had to have a worksheet and then we were going to grade it and tell the neighbors how they scored on it, they wouldn't go anywhere near a bookstore. Yeah. So I think we need to take a little lesson from what the adults read and what entertains them when they read, and transfer that to what the students do in the classroom.
I agree. In fact, one of the things that really upsets me is the leveling of books. Yes. I don't mind if you level them. But when you prohibit a child from reading a book about hockey that they're interested in because it's 2 levels below where they are, I want them to read whatever interests them. Sometimes adults read children's books because they enjoy them. There's nothing wrong with that. Or, sometimes you challenge yourself. Pigeonholing the kids into these levels, to me, I think it's counterproductive. There is
research on what motivates children to read. Being able to choose from topics they like is one. Being able to choose from interesting topics. Also, book ownership and seeing other people read. Those are all exciting things about reading.
Well, I think, why don't we go to a break right now, and when we come back, we will continue discussing everything that's happening in our classrooms.
Everything starts out small. The things that hurt us, they all start from somewhere. The words we say, the things we do, they can grow into something else. What was small and innocent can become big and sometimes scary. All it takes is one comment, one picture, one video for something to catch fire. But a big problem doesn't need a big response. Not at first. Even if we don't know what to say, the eye emoji can be that first step we take. Let's all pledge to take that first small step together and change the world in a big way. I'm a witness, and so are you.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. This is a serious problem, but one we can solve. Visit feedingamerica.org to help. Together we can solve hunger. Together we're feeding America.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework. He hates homework. I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's just gotta try a little harder.
1 in 5 children struggle with learning and attention issues. Go from misunderstanding to understood.org.
Welcome back to Brainstorm. I'm Lisa Willever, and today we are discussing school climate change. And I'm joined by Dr. James Fazzone and Dawn Hiltner. So let's pick up where we left off. We all agree that the climate inside the classrooms has changed. Now, I remember my last year of teaching, our inner city district adopted a whole school reform program. And we were told that a liaison would be in the building and every fourth grade teacher would teach the same textbook pages at the same time every day. And when we raised our hands with a lot of questions, as you can imagine, we were told if your class doesn't get it, you can't go back and review, you must keep going forward, they'll eventually catch up. And they tried to plan every single minute of our day. And I see a lot of that happening today, but I also see a lot of teachers, in spite of this, trying to restore the fun, trying to restore the creativity. What do you see? You're still in schools right now. You're still an administrator. What do you see happening with teachers?
True, but I'm in schools now, and I've been in schools for a long time, and I've seen these CAN programs come and go and come and go over the years, and some of them are very tightly scripted. They're telling the teacher exactly what they should be teaching, when in fact, if we talk about pedagogy, it's the art and science of teaching. So yeah, we have the science part maybe where we have a textbook and we have some guidelines. However, the art part is those teachers that are highly trained, highly motivated, highly creative, and make teaching exciting for their children. Excuse me, I don't think that we want to take that creativity and ability and skill away from that teacher by giving them something that a robot could teach.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more, especially because I went through it myself. And it was my last year of teaching. I think it was one of the things that really frustrated me so much. And you almost felt like you just can't beat this machine of politics and business that have kind of infiltrated education. Now, Dawn, with the Education Association, you're not in the classroom every day as when you were a teacher, but you deal with so many teachers. How are they reacting to the changes?
I think there's a lot of pushback. I think that in spite of all of the structure, they still try to make learning fun for their students, and they still go above and beyond. One of the best parts of my job is I run a foundation, and we give out $100,000 a year in grants for innovative classroom projects that wouldn't normally be funded by a school district. And every year we get lots of grant submissions and really innovative ideas of ways that they're kind of taking it above and beyond. And sometimes they'll even do things after school to supplement and invite kids to stay after and participate in different clubs and projects to keep that innovation and that creativity alive.
Oh, that's wonderful. How about, do you
what I see also, we talk about those grants and the funding, I see teachers pulling thousands of dollars out of their pockets because they have an idea, they want to run with it, they've seen something that's exciting, they've seen something that one of their colleagues have done, or they're doing some research on the internet, on some of the search engines, and they want to try it. It's Monday, they want to try it tomorrow, not even Wednesday. Yeah. And they go out and buy some of these materials. And it's just those kinds of teachers and that concept. And I know they have a lot of things being pushed at them, but I kind of call it creative insubordination, which is a good thing for the kids. Right. So that you make sure that learning is exciting for those children when they come to school.
Just don't teach that term to my youngest. I don't want to hear he's being creatively insubordinate every time he doesn't listen. Now, because of my career right now, I left teaching to become a children's book author. So part of my job is writing, but part of it is visiting schools. So I'm in about 50 different schools all over the country, now more local to the East Coast, but I go to all kinds of schools. I go to your inner city, I go to suburban, rural, all different income levels. And the one constant that I've noticed over the past, I would say 4 or 5 years, is just a stress, like a level of tension that was never there before. And I notice it with the kids. I hear the word benchmarks. I hear all these different terms with the Common Core and, a lot of the testing terminology that's being used. And I feel sorry for people. School, especially elementary, middle school, should be fun. This should be like your testing lab where you learn and where you try and you fail and you learn again. And I don't see the joy that I used to see in elementary schools. And I see the teachers doing all these things in spite of it. But I just personally don't feel they should have to do in spite of it. I feel like we should get together and support what teachers are doing. But my biggest concern is the new teachers, the ones who have not taught freely enough to become creatively insubordinate. They've only been taught how to follow these over-scripted manuals and over-scripted guidelines. So what do you think the solution is for the new teachers who have kind of been caught graduating college over the last 5 or 6 years, and this is the only environment they've known so far?
Well, I think there's a network within the school. We have teachers who have been around for a while. They've seen these CAN programs come and go. And I think you mentioned before, at least the business and the politics of education. Education used to be something that was, maybe on page 6 or 7 in the newspaper. If it's not on the first page, it's on the second page. There's something to do with the school all the time. The politicians know about it, the people who are in business. But I don't think we should have politicians and businesses driving instruction. There are people who are, you think of Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle and Michael Jordan. We got people at that level in the classrooms, and there's a lot of them, and the teachers learn from those folks as well. So I think that network will always be there, and I think that business and politics is always going to be there as well. Maybe it wasn't as strong. Maybe it's not. It's stronger now than it used to be. But the teachers want what's best for the kids. Parents want what's best for the kids, and the kids are there to learn. And I think that dynamic will always be there. Parents, teachers, students, and the school community, and people who've been in schools before, remembering your viewers will remember what they liked the best. And I think that concept will always permeate and move forward.
How about you, Dawn?
Well, and I think years and years ago there was this mentality that, you went into your classroom and you closed the door and then it was just you and your students and that was it. But I think some of this overstructure and some of that, we've gotten more pushback where I think teachers are more communal, even more. I think they're looking to each other for answers. They're looking to each other to brainstorm solutions, to come up with ways to do things in a better, more interesting, more creative way. So I think there's a lot of camaraderie within school buildings among grade levels, content areas, where they meet regularly, they get together, they come up with good ideas. Listen, I tried this worked, you want to see what I did, that type of thing. They're open. I mean, we have the NJEA convention every year, and we still get like tens of thousands of educators who come down and they're in workshops. I had a teacher ask me, why don't you have evening workshops too while we're here? So he had been in workshops from 9:30 in the morning until 5 at night and wanted to know why he couldn't take more workshops, like from 6 to 10 at night. And I thought, don't you want to go out and eat dinner and take a nap or something?
Yeah,
but
I think we need to talk to that guy.
You might want to hire that guy.
That's a great attitude. No, we'll hire him.
Yeah.
We need to talk to him too.
Yeah.
But it's but there's a lot of they're looking for things. They're looking for books like Nikki Fifth to make teaching the state of New Jersey more fun. They're looking for ways to kind of bring different experience to their students. So
yeah, and it's funny, on paper things always look wonderful. Budgets look great on paper, New Year's resolutions, grocery lists. These things always look nice and set. And in reality, they don't align. They don't align to the actual situation that you're in. And I feel like the people who work for the federal government and state government, who make a lot of the rules, who broker a lot of the deals with different companies for, programs that are coming in that affect everyone, I feel like so many of these people have never spent time in a classroom. And maybe that should be, maybe big picture should be policy. And maybe the policy should be, you cannot make decisions about what happens in the classroom if you've never spent meaningful time in a classroom as a teacher. Not just having an education degree and a master's and you've gone right to the Department of Education. I think there should be some kind of rule.
But those folks enjoy acting like they know what they're talking about so much.
I wouldn't mind stripping that enjoyment away from them.
Well, exactly. And some of the things that the teachers go through, in September they get to know their teachers. Then they get to know the parents. They know the kids. They understand the personalities, their work, and those, like you say, you can't have a broad brush that has one canned curriculum. They have different techniques. Different techniques will work with different kids. Different students respond differently. Parents have concerns. Again, that intercurriculum, who am I? Where have I been in the past? Where do I want to go in the future? The teachers understand that as the years go on, and they're highly skilled at it. Now, to say that we're not going to observe teachers and that we're not going to have some type of direction for the teachers, that's incorrect too. We do have to have some structure, but we can't have, I think total structure is the wrong way to go.
Right. And I think that the structure and the testing should really kind of be used as tools. They shouldn't be the means to the end.
Exactly.
That,
Hard and fast.
Right,
yeah.
exactly. I mean, a test should be a teaching tool that I can use that and say, well, maybe I need to reteach this part of the curriculum, or maybe, these students need some extra help, or maybe look at how well they did. Maybe I need to kick it up a level, but it shouldn't really be the means to the end.
Well, right now we're at the most exciting part of the show.
Okay.
This is where we play Brainstorm. And in the true tradition of brainstorming, we will look at ideas and decide if they're good or if they get thrown out. But if you're throwing them out, you get to ball it up and try to make a basket.
Sounds good.
All right, first idea. Are you ready? Schools should operate much more like a business.
All right, let me see.
There you go.
Nice.
Okay, that's teamwork. You see that? That's the dream work.
Yeah.
Okay, idea number 2, excessive stress isn't bad. It prepares kids for the real world. All right.
No, there's a lot of stress in adulthood. Childhood should be fun.
Absolutely. Okay, idea 3, fun and games are actually learning tools.
Oh, yeah, we like that. We'll keep that one, sure.
Keep that one. Excellent.
Yes.
Okay. Idea 4, boredom is okay at school. Students can have fun at home. I knew where that was going.
A hook shot.
There you go.
Wow,
Look at that.
very
You guys
nice.
are right on the game here. Idea 5, the arts just take time away from reading, math, and science.
Rip
There you
that
go.
up.
There you go.
No, the arts are just as important.
Absolutely, especially for all different learners.
Arts are huge.
They're very, and I visit schools where they've taken away arts on a cart, then it was gone. Library's gone, because obviously that's just, taking a book out. It has nothing to do with media and computers and research, music classes.
They're the first things to go. Budget gets cut,
Makes
music,
no sense.
art.
Okay, idea 6, collaboration and group projects create a powerful dynamic for learning.
Okay. we'll
Keep that.
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
nice one.
Okay. Number 7. Oh boy. Kindergarten should include much less playtime. That's what infancy is for.
Oh, get rid of that one.
Here, I'll pass it to you and you shoot.
Oh, okay.
All right, there we go. All right. And number 8, the pendulum will eventually swing back to normal.
Normal
That's a
being the
tough one.
operative word
That's a
there.
tough one.
Well, the pendulum will keep swinging.
It will.
That's for sure. Where normal lands, that remains to be seen.
So I say we keep this one out here
Okay,
with great hope.
This is open for discussion.
We get to define what normal means.
Exactly right.
That's a great idea. Before we wrap up, any last words or thoughts on the climate of our schools today?
Well, when I did back to school nights as a teacher and I'd have all the parents come in, the first thing that I would say to them is, look, we have things we have to accomplish there. I have goals that I want your child to reach, but my number one goal is to make your child love coming to school.
I think on those words, we are going to wrap up right now. That's what we want. Kids loving going to school. I want to thank you for watching. I'm Lisa Willever, along with Dr. James Fazzone and Dawn Hiltner. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time on Brainstorm.
Why don't you ever see elephants hiding in trees? Because they're really good at it. Yeah, I get it.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.